Welcome back to the VC3 News Update, first in our local news stories. Today, July 30th, 2020, St. Vincent and the Grenadines joined the rest of the world in commemorating the United Nations World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. This year marks the 70th year since July 30th was made by the UN General Assembly as the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons, in marking the day, which is held under the theme Significance and Commitment to the Cause, working on the frontline trend human trafficking. Prime Minister Dr. Honorable Ralph Gonsalves delivered a message to the nation, noting that human trafficking is a criminal network and business which yields enormous profits.
According to the United States State Department, this crime is as profitable as trafficking in arms and ammunition, and is the second most profitable criminal network to that of drug trafficking. Indeed, independent researchers so confirm. Their annual earnings from this trade of approximately 32 billion US dollars. The U.S. State Department further estimates that between 600,000 and 1 million persons are trafficked globally on an annual basis. What makes the situation more untenable is that women and children account for 71% of all trafficked victims.
Prime Minister Gonsalves stated that on October of 2010, SVG ratified the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime and the protocols.
The protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children. The protocol against the smuggling of migrants by land, sea, and air. The protocol against the illicit manufacturing of and trafficking in firearms, their parts and components, and ammunition. In order to assist in the ratification of these international instruments and protocols, the government in St. Vincent and the Grenadines has taken the following and other concrete steps towards realizing this target. 1. The enactment of the Prevention of Trafficking in Persons Act number 27 of 2011. This model law, among other things, criminalizes human trafficking. 2. The creation of an institutional framework, such as the National Task Force Against Human Trafficking, of which I am the chair, and the Interministerial Working Group Against Human Trafficking. 3. The establishment of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit, a specialized unit in the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force to combat human trafficking, headquarters at the Kittels Police Station. 4. The signing of a memorandum of understanding between 9 stakeholders to combat human trafficking. 5. The formulation of a national action plan to combat human trafficking. This plan is the overarching mechanism that is utilized to treat with human trafficking. This plan goes up to 2020, and of course, the plan would be renewed and refreshed.
Prime Minister Gonsalves said as we move forward in the great cause to end modern-day slavery, he is encouraging Vincentians to join all in reporting anything that comes to their attention on human trafficking to the authorities.
If you see or hear something touching and concerning human trafficking, say something. That is to say, report it to the authorities. This is but one of the ways which you can play your part to end human trafficking. You can contact the Anti-Human Trafficking in Persons Unit at telephone numbers 784-456-1750 or 457-1211, or by email at svgantitraffickingunit@gmail.com, or on Facebook at Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit, RSVGPU, PF. Or you can meet any member of the task force or the unit at anywhere at all and talk to them. There's a very popular man who heads the unit. He's doing a tremendous job, ASP Simmons. You'll meet him anywhere. You can approach him, you can talk to him, or you can go and visit him at the Kittels Police Station or call him. I want to thank him for the tremendous work he has been doing in providing leadership in this regard.
Meanwhile, Commissioner of Police Mr. Colin John said persons who are trafficked have multi-use, and he committed the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force will continue to work hard to make SVG safe.
Persons who are trafficked, they have multi-use. In the case of drugs, you consume the drugs and it's gone. But the persons, they are used on several occasions for sexual exploitation or manual labor or other forms of exploitation. So this is a very serious crime, and it is given that treatment or given that attention by the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force. Just want to thank the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines for allowing us and for giving their full endorsement to the initiative of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force in helping to rid St. Vincent and Grenadines of the scourge of human trafficking. We are doing a good job so far. It's always a work in progress, and we continue to work hard to make sure St. Vincent and Grenadines is safe, not only as regards human trafficking, but as regards other offences.
As part of the commemoration of World Day Against Trafficking Against Persons, the Royal SVG Police Force Anti-Trafficking in Persons Unit unveiled its new logo. ASP Simmons said the logo was designed by Police Constable Sean Roach, who is currently pursuing studies in Taiwan.
First of all, the design was done by Sean Roach, a police constable who's currently pursuing studies in Taiwan, under the Prime Minister. He's a very good police officer, and the globe represents countries, communities, activities, and travel, because human trafficking is a migratory offense. And this design have four interrelated themes. You have protection, there's also diversity, there are communities, and the other one is security. The blue in the background, that represents the universal color for human trafficking. And the humanoid figures that you see there represents the diversity, the races that human trafficking affects. And importantly, you can see those humanoid figures forming a crown on the crest. That depicts the protection that the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force offers to victims of human trafficking.
The preliminary results for the 2020 Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment, the CPEA examinations, are currently being reviewed by the Ministry of Education with assistance from the Caribbean Examinations Council. A release from the Ministry of Education said the established policy guideline relating to these examinations provides an opportunity for students to query their grades. Investigations into reported discrepancies have revealed that the errors discovered relates to the internal component of the assessment that is locally generated. The Caribbean Examination Council is in no way responsible for the identified discrepancies, Permanent Secretary Micelle Burke said. The Ministry of Education will continue to work in the interest of all stakeholders and regrets any inconvenience caused as a consequence of our due diligence exercise, the release read. Still in the local scene, the World Pediatric Project, the WPP Executive Director for the Eastern Caribbean, Lauren McIntosh, says the WPP is hoping to resume medical missions to SVG later this year. According to local reports, McIntosh said the organization is currently monitoring the situation in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic. She said the WPP also hopes to welcome their neonatal training team to SVG this year. And finally, in our local news stories, Former educator Mrs. Maria Jackson Richardson on Tuesday, the 28th of July 2020, had her lifelong dream realized when she was called to the bar of SVG before Her Ladyship the Honorable Justice Nicola Bayer of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. Having submitted her resignation letter signaling the official end of her teaching career at the end of the 2016 school year, Mrs. Jackson Richards took the first step in the right direction when she enrolled and started pursuing her legal studies in the United Kingdom. After the successful completion of her studies, she was called to the bar of England and Wales through the Honourable Society of Lincoln's Inn in 2019 and went on to be called to the bar in the British Virgin Islands in March of 2020, whilst she was actively engaged in completing her pupillage at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, National Prosecution Service of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which she started in November 2019. The application for Mrs. Jackson Richards' call to the bar of SVG was moved by the learned Director of Public Prosecutions, Miss Sigilla McDowell, and the second by Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions, Mrs. Tamika De Silva Mackenzie, a former student of the newest member of the local legal fraternity. According to DPP McDowell, for her, it was a first to move a call from the premises of the office of the DPP in a room by way of Zoom. Due to COVID-19 safety and security measures, the call was conducted virtually via the Zoom platform. Assistant DPP De Silva Mackenzie, in brief endorsing comments of Mrs. Jackson as a fit and suitable candidate to be called to the local bar, apart from her qualifications, reflected on the admiration she shared for her former teacher's command of the English 25 years prior and her belief that Mrs. Jackson Richards' eloquence will be a force to be reckoned with as she contributes to the justice sector as barrister and solicitor of the state. Granting the order, Her Ladyship the Honourable Justice Bayer congratulated Counsel Jackson Richards and stated that the ODPP NPS is a great place for her to start her career. You will be baptized by the fire, but it is a great place to learn. You will have the most opportunities to think quickly on your feet and hone your advocacy skills. There's great opportunity for research, and though you are not able to prepare for every eventuality, your skills will be sharpened because there is almost always certainty, some kind of surprise that shows up in a criminal case. That's our local stories. Next, regionally, Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister responds to the opposition leader's claim.